Welcome to the 12. Consistency and skill are the only things that matter when you get put in the spotlight of the single-player stage. 12 players enter showcasing their talent in a winner-takes-all best-of-one format. Outperform your opponent and advance to the next challenger. Falter and be sent home with nothing. The first round will feature strong and proven single-player competitors duking it out at the bottom. Those lucky enough to survive will have no small task ahead of them, running straight into our 4 most elite players, known as the Gatekeepers. These Gatekeepers have proven their worth by setting the top 4 highest scores in single-player, and it is surely no laughing matter to have to face one of these Goliaths on the path to victory. From there, 4 players will emerge, still competing for the title, then 2, then 1 will remain as the true champion, maximizing both score and staying consistent enough to outperform all the other competitors. Now then, let's get started. What does the first match of round 1 have in store for us? Yanyang. While not coming in with any official wins on the books, Yanyang was able to pull off a win in the fun-organized Sim Champs, defeating many of the players here in the field today. He now starts in round 1 with a lot to prove and is going to have to pull off a win against a very worthy opponent. Bacon, a regular face in XRC Sim, first making his first big appearance in the May SRC Championship Finals before falling in a close 2-1 series. With a relatively new appearance high on the single-player leaderboards, he has a lot to prove. Will he do it?
With the first match of the 12 about to get underway, it looks like our first matchup, Bacon and Yanyang, with different autonomous modes right off the bat. Bacon going for that newer meta, having a few misses, whereas Yanyang, perfect in that inner goal. Looks like he's going for that OP auto, going from the human player loading station. Bacon taking the time to line up his autonomous ends, though. Not a great auto from either of these two teams, coming out a little short, but currently Yanyang with the advantage here, 63-62. With the first cycles coming in now, it looks like Bacon again having a little bit of an issue with the lineup at the beginning. Yanyang didn't get as many shots in, but definitely was a little bit more precise. We're seeing 25-22 power cells scored in comparison, but Yanyang and Bacon now both with the shots off. It looks like it is a 1-point gap now between these two teams, but with 1:39 left on the clock, anything can happen, and usually does here in the XRC simulator. Again, we see Bacon having some issues with that perfect lineup. Yanyang having scored fewer power cells, but still within 5 points of his opponent, Bacon. Looks like he's going to be making the most of that 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Bacon going in for another cycle, and that's the lineup he needed. Has to adjust again mid-cycle, but that looks like 172 points currently, with 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the board for these two teams. We're seeing another shot coming from Yanyang, 197, a little bit shy of what he'd want for maybe a 400-point run, but he does have the advantage here, which is what matters if he is to continue on in the 12 tournament. We are seeing more cycles coming in fast and furiously from these two drivers, both having lots of experience on the XRC simulator with 45 seconds left. Yanyang, another huge volley of shots going in, giving him the lead, but not by much. This one's very close here, 235-238, with 1 power cell between these two robots. Bacon having a jam, that might hurt him a lot. His chances quickly going down the drain, but he's going to rebound quickly. He's ready. There's a lot of power cells in that rendezvous point for him to get. Yanyang, on the other hand, having to strafe underneath that trench zone might have cost him a little bit of time. This one's really going down to the wire here. Bacon running to that human player station with 13 seconds left on the clock. It looks like Bacon does have the advantage, but it will all come down to climbs. Yanyang maybe looking at getting a last second shot in. Bacon doing the same. They're going in. They're lifting up their hanger. Who will climb as the clock ticked down? Yanyang misses the climb, only a 5-point endgame in what was an incredibly close match here between these two robots. That match was so close, but you gotta get that balance, otherwise it's not gonna work out for you.
Yanyang is eliminated in round 1, missing the critical climb that could have given him the win. As the kids say these days, unlucky. Bacon moves on to face a Gatekeeper in round 2, but the journey's far from over. Let's check in with our second match of round 1. Adam D. Heading into this match, we see a familiar name on our screens as the SRC May Championship winner is about to play his first match. Regularly finding himself in the top 5 of the 6-man's leaderboard, Adam is surely to be a force to be reckoned with. Despite all these accolades, he heads into the next match, the underdog versus perhaps an even more worthy opponent. Panda 4456. A newcomer to the top of the leaderboards, but surely has to be considered the favorite heading into this matchup, despite only one official win to his name. Panda brings a lot of consistent, high-scoring single-player scores that make him the favorite for this battle to stay alive.
All right, second match of the 12. We've already seen an incredibly close match thus far between Bacon and Yang. What will these two robots be able to do? Panda versus Adam. Looks like Panda with the early shots might give him a bit of an advantage. Adam missing that one. You see a few of them left on the field might hurt him a little bit. With autonomous period over, it looks like the advantage does go to Panda, but not by much. Only 5 points did separate these two robots coming out of autonomous, and we've seen how much that can matter. That and the endgame really set the pace for the match. So these two robots working hard, and Panda puts up another big volley. So that looks like he is going to be on the move. Adam struggling. You see him shaking that robot back and forth, trying to get that jam out. But he does have a bigger cycle. That's 3 more power cells scored, giving him the advantage over Panda. But Panda's back faster. He's got another round in before Adam could get back. With 1 minute and 38 seconds left on the clock, though, we are in for another close match. Look at the score here, 130 to 132. Adam taking to the rendezvous zone to get lined up. You do see a little bit of an issue, but he is able to get them off. The first 3 going into that outer port, but it looks like the rest of them are locked and loaded to that center goal. He does have the advantage still, but not by much over Panda, so Panda is going to be working very hard trying to get up those power cells, 178 to 159, but Adam will respond with a volley of his own. Panda now crossing the field, trying to pick it from the side rail. A little bit difficult there, gets a little bit stuck, but is back on the move, lined up, and look at those shots go in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All in. It is a close one yet again. 205 to 207 with 50 seconds left on the match. We are in for one heck of a match. A little bit shy of that 400-point mark, but really here all that matters is advancing to the next round. 226 to 226, a dead even heat. So in the last 30 seconds, it's all going to come down to these final few cycles and that climb. We saw that hurt YY so much in that last match. We'll see if it happens again here. Adam with that missed shot. Could that be the one? Because with 24 seconds left, Panda going to make sure, lining up diligently to make sure that doesn't happen to him. And now he does have the advantage. 268 to 267 with another cycle coming in from Panda in these dying seconds of the match. Will Adam have thrown it away, or will he just pull it out at the end? We do see Panda going a little early for the climbs. Adam's not going to do the same, but they're pulling up. At the moment, it looks like it will be Adam moving on by only 4 points. Perfect end games from both robots, but what a match. Another close one going to Adam. He moves on.
Panda was unable to pull out the win against Adam. It was a 4-point deficit and oh so close, but unfortunately, close doesn't cut it. Adam with a narrow victory heading into a strong Gatekeeper. Hopefully he can find a much better match for the next challenge ahead. Ayala. A Cinderella story all the way to the Season 1 All-Stars tournament, working her way up from the bottom of the 6-man's leaderboard to the top 12. Once again, she finds herself in the mix of an elite group of players looking to cause some upsets and climb the tables. Dar 2655, one of the most veteran competitors playing in this tournament. His versatility for multiple categories of the single-player runs has propelled him high on multiple leaderboards, and he will be looking to ride that high all the way to his next opponent.
We are ready for another close match, hopefully underway. We see Nayela and Dar making their way around the field. It looks like Nayela gets their shots up first, lining them all up. That's an early score of 42-54. Dar with the advantage, but Nayela not going to take that sitting down. She may be the underdog, but she came here to fight. Dar, 26-55 out of auto with the advantage here, 80-66. So that's a quite a good auto coming out from Dar. Nayela on the back foot, but making moves quickly. A bit of a jam coming in for Dar. Loses 2 power cells and wastes time. We'll pick those ones up lickety split, but is back underway. But Nayela now has closed the gap with that, taking advantage here, 96-99. What was a big gap out of autonomous is no longer. We see Dar putting up those power cells again, not trying to miss any, but now it's a tie. Nayela, having briefly taken a tie there, is still very much in this match here. Gonna see what they can do with that next cycle. Dar lining up all of those going into that inner port. Nayela the same, so it will see who shot more. Looks like Nayela was able to get an extra shot in on that cycle, 43-42 power cells, so a little bit extra precision perhaps coming into play from Nayela as well. Dar with another jam on this run's really gonna hurt him, but he's moving as fast as he can. Now down with a minute and 10 seconds left in this match, 177-175. This has been a close one, but Nayela starting to break away with it. A few shots do go into that outer port, but taking the lead here with a minute left in this match, 207-198 here. Nayela, though, now with the jam, we'll see if Dar's able to take advantage of that, is able to get that rest of that cycle up, and is up by about 15 points, so it may come down to the climbs after all. 233-231. It's been a back and forth match. Nayela very much in this fight, even though she's the underdog. She is not going to let it go easily. A little bit of a stumble there over that trench zone, but Dar will have a jam again. A lot of unlucky pickups necessarily coming in from him here, which gives Nayela a bit more of a cushion, 284-261. So it's going to come down to the climbs. If Nayela misses that balance or that climb, we've seen that have disastrous consequences early on. Nayela taking a little bit more time to shoot here, does have the advantage. So with 10 seconds left, it's all down to the climbs. Who will get it? Dar misses a shot at the end. He's not even there. But with 4 seconds left, we'll see who gets up. 315-329. We'll see what happens at the end. And it is Nayela with the win. It was a close match, but 4 power cells ultimately making the difference, and a little bit of extra precision. Very well done. Nayela, the underdog, moving on.
Veteran Dar 2655 falls in dramatic fashion despite having a strong early lead. Nayela once again pulls off an upset, keeping her strong performance going. She moves on to the round of the gatekeepers next. But before that, we have one more round. Codster. A late addition to the tournament looks to make waves in this event. Codster is mostly known for strong defensive tactics and inertia, while baiting out the foul points and abusing the misplays of his opponents. On today's field, however, he has to go it alone as he rises to the challenge of maximizing his score in single player. Andrew 2137. Our strongest player in round 1 looks to stamp his mark on the field with big scores and a strong performance straight out of the gate. Being competitive in the top 10 of each category makes him an incredibly versatile and consistent player, and will strike fear into any opponent he plays.
All right, our final match of our first round is going to be Codster versus Andrew. We see both robots making a move. Andrew already missing some of those power cells. Codster getting them all, but we'll see who gets those power cells up quickest. We've seen Autonomous make such a difference. It's hard to claw your way back. Nayela did it last match. We'll see who has to do it this time around. Looks like it will be early advantage to Andrew with a good Autonomous mode, 80 points to 71 from Codster. Codster with a big jam here, really going to hurt his chances. Andrew already already back for another cycle, but we'll see what Codster is able to do in response. Looks like a quick short cycle from Codster going through that rendezvous point may help him out. 111 to 103. So Andrew definitely with the advantage for now, but we've seen that not last for long. Already a response, but there's another jam. You see him having to shake that robot, is able to get all of those power cells off, and they are back on the field. 34 power cells shot by Andrew, 33 to Codster, so it's a very close match here. Now make that 34 to 34. It's another close one. Definitely going to see this one come down to the wire here. Codster putting up a volley of shots. Those ones do go into the inner port for 3 points each. Andrew getting those shots in as well, but another jam. He's having a lot of difficulty here picking up these power cells and getting them to stick with a minute and 15 seconds left in the match. Right now it is Andrew's, but not by much. Only 5 points separating these two robots as they continue to move along. Codster facing off against Andrew. A big cycle coming in from Andrew. Codster with a little bit of a difficulty there is going to put him back 208 to 216. So a little bit of a cushion, but it's not much. And we've seen much bigger cushions fall. So we'll definitely have to keep Andrew working hard if he wants to maintain his lead. But Codster just having a rough end to that match, opening up the gap to Andrew a little bit more, make that 11 points between these two robots as Andrew puts up another cycle in response to Codster's attempts to catch. It is going to be 37 seconds left on the clock, and we're still seeing that advantage go to Andrew as he's running away with it, but Codster within grasp of the victory will have to pull out something pretty impressive in these dying 30 seconds if he does want to take the win here. 250 to 296, so a tough run from Codster after a very strong start early. We'll see if Andrew is able to continue this strong run. 319 with 15 seconds left in the match. Does have a few extra cycles on his opponent, Codster, as Codster puts up another volley. He's at 300 seconds left with 5 seconds left in the match here. 337 to 303. It's all going to come down to the climbs, but it looks like everyone is up, which means it is in Andrew's favor. Andrew moving on to the next round.
Codster was unable to take the heat from the higher-seeded player in his match, and he finds his run ending here. Andrew 2137 puts a show on for everyone to see, putting up a tournament high score. Does he have a chance to take down one of the legendary gatekeepers next? We will soon see what our challengers are worth as they now head the gatekeeper's doorsteps. 4 more matches featuring perhaps the most skilled players in the game are coming up next. Andrew 2137 is the first of our challengers to be put into the trial by fire that is the task of facing a gatekeeper. Put up an impressive 377-point run his first time around, and will need to put up something similar if he wants to defeat a player of this caliber facing him now. Our first gatekeeper is Evan 1533, a relatively new player on the scene, but entered with a bang, putting up big scores in single-player OG runs and being one of the first of our competitors to break the once elusive 400-point mark. Now, he has upped his game even further and looks to quash any doubts of his status despite being the new kid on the block. Let's see what he can do.
All right, moving on to our next match of the 12. We get our first glance at a gatekeeper here with Evan 1533. Evan, one of the well-known players in XRC Sim, getting off to a bit of a slow start though, so Andrew's coming out fighting. He's going to take this one a little bit scrappy though with that autonomous missing a few of those shots. Evan, though, took his time, does see a little bit of a loss in points for it, but does get that extra precision in at the end. 75 to 80, 5-point advantage for Andrew. As they're putting up the power cells now, Andrew did have a bit of a jam, as did Evan. You see Evan has a power cell roll across the field out of his intake as he tries to unjam it, but he's back on the move now, but is down. Andrew, 2137, putting up his shots. You see those all go into that inner port. Finessed quite well after a warm-up round. Evan, on the other hand, just getting started. 114 to 137, 29 to 35 power cells shot. With a minute and 35 left, it looks like Andrew having the advantage now, especially after that autonomous mode has kind of taken that lead and run away with it. But Evan definitely going in for another cycle, does go under that trench to get some power cells from the trench run, misses the first shot from that inner port, does go in for 2 points, but not enough at this level of gameplay. 188 to 158, so 30 points rather for these two teams separating them. We see a minute left in the gameplay here, 182 to 206, so Evan's slowly scraping his way back, but Andrew's going to continue to hold him off. 212 to 202. Looks like Andrew currently will hold that advantage for a little bit longer as he puts up another cycle and now is going to collect some more. Evan putting those power cells up, a few bounce off each other in the goal, but do still go in, but I don't know if it'll be enough for him with 42 seconds left. 217 points to 257. Andrew continuing to pick up power cells, this time from the human player station, while Evan opting for the rendezvous point instead for a quicker cycle. That first shot goes a little bit wide, but does go in for 2. Andrew all into that inner port perfectly. We'll see if he's able to keep it close because Evan now is within firing range here. 263 to 281. Andrew putting up some more cells with 15 seconds left in the match, extending his lead a little bit further, but we have seen the climbs make a difference. 305 to 290, your current score, but it looks like Evan's going for a late cycle. We'll see if he's able to get that climb at the end because that could make the difference. He does get up in time, but it's not enough. He did not get off the ground. The swinging hurts him. He would not have taken it either way, but what a close match at the end for Andrew, moving on to the next round.
Evan was unable to match up to expectations and falls to a strong challenger. Unfortunately, his journey ends here. Andrew is starting to look like a real challenger for the title as he defeats a gatekeeper convincingly. Yet, there are still 2 matches that lie ahead. The fight for the challengers to pull off more upsets doesn't end here, as Bacon once again takes the stage to send one of the Goliaths of the tournament home. Scoring only 337 his first round, he looks to impress on the field in this upcoming match. The most decorated player in all of XRC Sim makes his debut now. Brennan4476 looks to set the record straight for the remaining challengers to keep the gatekeepers on top. 6-time event winner and the only player to do it in 3v3, 2v2, and 1v1 arenas, it will be no small task for Bacon to pull off the win in this upcoming match.
Another exciting match coming up here. We see another gatekeeper, this time Brennan4476, the most decorated player in XRC Sim, will hold his ground against Bacon, but Bacon has a rough start to the match. We'll see if he's able to come back from that, but right now advantage to Brennan 54 to 40 early on in the autonomous period. As the clock hits 2:15, it looks like we are going to see Bacon have to come fight from behind. 52 to 74, the current score, so Brennan holding on to his lead. We'll see what happens in this next cycle. Brennan lining up a little bit better, a little bit faster. Definitely these things that make a difference because Bacon is now down by 30. We'll see what he's able to do to come back from this. Brennan, on the other hand, continues running, just picking up some power cells along the way. No big deal, firing them off there. That is a score of 88 to 134 with a minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. So Bacon definitely going to have to fight if he wants to take this match at the end. 112 to 134, still within grasp. There's still only 2 power cells between them, but that makes a lot of a difference. We've seen that in all these matches earlier on. Brennan making his way across the field to the opposite side. Bacon coming back as well. Now they're ready to shoot. Brennan lines up all of those going into that 3-pointer. Bacon, the same. A few of them do bounce off into that lower port, but it's 159 to 191. So Brennan has slowly extended his lead here. Not by much compared to earlier, but it's still the same almost 30 points between these two robots, Bacon and Brennan holding on. Brennan proving why he is the number one most decorated player in XRC Sim, 215 to 180 now. That's about 35 points. Bacon's going to have to work very hard and hope that Brennan makes a major mistake if he wants to move on to the next round to face another gatekeeper. But for now, it looks like Brennan is holding on. Bacon, a little bit of difficulty here trying to line up, figure out what his move is. He's seeing that he's struggling. He's calculating. He misses the shot, but the rest of them do go in at the end, I guess. Bacon versus Brennan, the lead extending with 24 seconds left in the match. Bacon does get some of those shots, but desperate now, fighting for any last points he can muster. Brennan, on the other hand, is calm, cool, and collected, just putting up those shots like it doesn't matter. With 95, 96 power cells left. Brennan going to score one more for good measure. 244 on Bacon's 327. We'll see what happens at the climbs, but Brennan locked and loaded. What a massive victory here, over 100 points. No end game for Bacon really making the difference there, but 362 to 253. What a match.
Bacon is sent home with the lowest score of the tournament so far. Unfortunately, everything was working against him in the end. Brennan is the first gatekeeper to make the top 4. Will he be the last? We'll see what the next match has in store. Adam D had the win by the narrowest margins yet so far in the tournament, and only putting up a 336 isn't likely going to cut it where he wants to be heading. He arrives on the field ready to play and improve his score against a ferocious opponent. 3v3 GOAT. Cone, 49-46, looks to impress on his first outing, and is perhaps the favorite to take the whole thing. Virtually uncontested on the Six Man's leaderboard, earning titles for every month the leaderboard has been in place, as the #1 player puts a lot of pressure on any opponent he faces. Not only is he strong, his robot performance is versatile, scoring in the top 2 of all 3 types of robots in Infinite Recharge. What kind of scores will he be able to put up in his first match? Let's find out.
With another crazy match coming up, we do see Adam versus Cone. Cone, one of the most dominant players on the multiplayer scene. He is going to see how he can do on his own. Looks like he's off to a quick start. Adam, on the other hand, struggling early. Looks like it's going to be a better autonomous mode coming in from Cone as he scores 89 points in autonomous, almost double the score that we saw Adam put up with 2 minutes left in the match. So we're going to see if Cone can keep his calm, cool, and elected demeanor, whereas Adam, on the other hand, is going to come out with something crazy. Does miss those trench balls, instead going straight to that goal. We'll see if that works for him. Looks like he does get a few of those shots up quite quickly. The rest of them jam, but he's back underway, picking up the power cells that he left out of that line of 9 early on. Cone making his way through that rendezvous zone. 1 minute and 42 seconds left on the clock, and it is looking like it is going to be in Cone's favor, but a few slower shots making the difference there. We'll see if Cone is able to hold on to that lead, though, because Adam is still having some difficulty with that hopper. We saw it happen to him in the last match as well, so we'll see if he's able to fix those issues, because with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, there's really no time to spare if you're going to fix a major issue. Cone making some slots a little bit slower than his opponent, but is able to get that extra accuracy that's really giving him that advantage, because there's only a few power cells difference, but there is a lot of points. Adam now making his way back across the rendezvous zone. Cone doing the same, mirroring each other's movements with a minute left. But the biggest thing to keep an eye on is the scores. 10 extra power cells coming in from Cone means that he was up by about 40 points that last cycle. And it looks like he's going to extend that a little bit further to 50 as he goes for a quick cycle against that human player station with 45 seconds left. He's on pace for quite a good run. Adam struggling, but he still has it in his grasp if Cone makes a major error. We have seen at the end the difference that missing a climb can make. 267 to 220, make that 230. It looks like Cone is going to be secure for now, but Adam still has time to put in an extra cycle. The underdog fighting for his life. Remember that if you lose, you do not advance. Cone holding it, showing why he is so dominant. The #1 player in ELO for every month the leaderboard has existed. So Adam really up against a tough competitor, and with a few seconds left, it looks like it's going to be a clean match from Cone, shooting one off into the abyss for good measure. 361 to 295, both missing the balances at the end, but it looks like Cone had enough to hold on.
Adam falls in the round of 8 to a worthy opponent. Better luck next time. Cone advances to the top 4, where the matches only get tougher from here on out. Niella has already pulled off one massive upset, eliminating Dar 2655 from contention in the 12, but her work is far from over. She is definitely no slouch when it comes to her on-field performance, putting up the 4th highest score of the event so far, only being outscored by the 3 players in our top 4 so far. She will look to replicate that performance and lock herself in for the final spot in the semifinals. Niella's opponent almost needs no introduction. His single-player feats are nothing short of legendary, but let's take the time to meet him. The current world record holder for OG finally takes center stage and is ready to put on a show, consistently innovating on world record strats, new paths, and techniques that he alone has perfected. Makes Nick 862 an absolute monster to run into during the bracket stage. The king of single player is ready to show us how it's done, but he has to be careful to not underestimate the upset magic that his opponent seems to have consistently.
We're about to get the last match of the Gatekeepers round underway, seeing Niella, who pulled off an upset after being down. She's up against Nick 862, the god of single-player play. We're going to see, it looks like maybe an early advantage going to be to whoever can get the most shots in this time. We'll see, it looks like most of those go into the inner port, but Niella may have had one bounce out, 72 to 67. So definitely more precision coming in from Nick 862, who is well known for his skills in single player mode. But Niella has been down before and is ready to come back fighting. Nick 862 going to that human player station with a little bit of an advantage, but not much. Some of those shots going into the outer port, that's a miss there. You really can't afford to do that, especially in this round here. Stakes are high. Loser goes home. 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock, and it's about as close as it can get right now, but Nick will put up a volley just to get a little bit more of a cushion. Niella with a jam takes a little bit longer to line up, but all of those do go in for her as well. Nick 862, the same in response. So this one is neck and neck here, 176 to 145, but Niella is going to respond to that as well. This is a very back and forth match the way that these two players are playing right now. Looks like a little bit of an advantage to Nick, but we'll see if that sticks, as he has gotten another cycle in compared to Niella, who's kind of scrounging for power cells, not able to get a full hopper for a little bit longer. Nick, on the other hand, pathing like he knows how to do, 217 to 196, so he's starting to pull away a little bit here. Niella going over that rendezvous zone, takes a little bit extra time, but is down power cells, so needs to find these quick cycles, and there's not a lot of power cells on the field for her to take. 243 to 223 now with 40 seconds. See Niella if she can do anything to bring it back. Nick 862 on the other hand is just starting to run away with it. A big jam from Niella there. Those go in, but it takes a little bit longer, and you can't be doing that because there's only 27 seconds left. Nick does have some of those power cells go into the outer port, so a little bit suboptimal there, but 307 to 265, it looks like he'll have the advantage going into that end game. We'll see what happens next. 271 for Niella. She's going to try and jam. She shakes them out. I think one of those power cells left the robot. Nick getting some final shots in before he goes off. He has the early advantage, but throws can happen, but it doesn't look like it will today. Nick 862 showing why he is the top tier player in single player, will hold on. Moving on to our semifinals. Niella, very well done, but just not able to get it this time.
Niella's run ends here, and in the end, having to face up against the tournament favorite was too much of a gap for her to overcome. She exits in the round of 8. Nick862 shows us what he's made of, running an experimental auto that no other player has been running so far. Will this be the slight edge that Nick needs to go all the way in this tournament? We will find out soon enough. The semi-finals. Normally, these two players facing off would be considered the favorite to take any win that you can put in front of them. Normally. But this is no normal tournament. The rivalry between Cone4946 and Brennan4476 is deep. Multiple close clashes in the standard 3v3 tournament has led to some of the closest matches and highest level gameplay of XRC that we've ever seen to date. They also have a storied friendship, pulling off over 3 event wins, pairing up with each other. Also, one even outside of the FRC category. Traditionally, Brennan has been the one to take the majority of the Ws, but today, that's a different story. Both these players have been longtime world record holders, each holding the world record for well over a month respectively. These two players were the first 2 in the world to break the once elusive 400 barrier that was once coveted so highly. Once, Brennan would have been considered the favorite, but times have changed. Cone has since excelled far past any scores Brennan has been able to put up in the single-player arena for going on over a month now, and not just in the OG category. In all categories, Cone has a significant edge. Cone's edge over Brennan doesn't stop there either, with his dominance in 3v3 in keeping up with the pace of the meta developments, while Brennan has fallen behind from his once dominant stature in the multiplayer field as well. Regardless of the outcome of this match, the show will be wild, and one of the favorites for the tournament will be sent home. Cone scored 361 points his first round, Brennan 362. 1 point separating these two players as we head into our first semi-final match.
The semifinals about to begin. We're going to start with an insane matchup here. The most decorated player versus the number 1 player on the leaderboard. We're going to see, it looks like both of them are getting off to a good start. Cone does miss 2 of those power cells. You see them on the field. Brennan takes a little longer to get those shots in, but it means he gets more in. We'll see at the end of Autonomous who has the advantage. Looks like it will be Brennan by about 10 points, 78 to 68. 2 more power cells going in for him, definitely making the difference early on. But these two players know the game like the back of their hands, and they're going to be working as fast as they can. But calm, cool, and collected is also the name of the game, because if you can stay calm, if you don't miss or trip over any of those power cells, Cone's showing you how it can lead to some massive cycles. That first one does go outer for him, a little suboptimal, but Brennan having a cycle of his own, pretty well done from him. So 137 left on the clock and a little bit of an advantage, but nothing to really ride home about right now for Brennan. He's going to have a little bit of pressure now. He's feeling it as Cone is within reach here. 1 power cell behind, but 7 points. We'll see Cone with a big miss there. That 1 power cell going a little bit to the left. Brennan, all of those going into the inner. A perfect cycle from him. 185 to 172, extending his lead a little bit further here with a minute left on the clock. Looks like Cone really trying to respond here. Does cross that 190 threshold. Brennan does the same into the 200 points with a minute left on the clock. 215 to 196. Cone puts up a cycle in response here. Brennan going to the human player station. That power cell kind of riding on his bumper for a bit, but he's back under it. Both of these two people showing why they are incredibly talented. This is why they are gatekeepers. But it looks like Brennan right now is showing his strength. 245 to 242, but Cone puts up some more cycles before they can even be counted here. 272 to 263 now, so only 9 points with 27 seconds left. Anything can happen in this end game. We've seen a missed balance make the difference. We've seen a missed climb make the difference. We'll see if that happens this time around. 305 to 287. Right now is your score. Brennan trying to get a cycle in at the end. Cone the same. We'll see if he's able to pick up some of those ones from the rendezvous point. He's trying. Gets that climber up a little early. Brennan going to the corner instead. 1 miss from Cone. Will that be the one he needed? We'll see with the clock hitting 0. Both get up, but Brennan having that advantage will take the match. Brennan moving on, the most decorated player into the finals.
Favorite falls in the semifinals with a close match all the way through despite a weaker auto. Cone 4946 kept pace till the very end, but unfortunately is now eliminated. Brennan 4476 cements his place in the finals, but who will his opponent be? Let's find out. It's the last remaining challenger in the 12 versus the king of single player. This match is going to be a real test for both Nick862 and Andrew 2137, as both stare across the field, with both players putting up big scores in the first half of the tournament. As we get to the back half of the tournament, the matches get higher and higher stakes, and this one is no different. Nick862 is easily considered the favorite by most, and many may think he has this in the bag very easily. World record holder for over a month? Check. Elite new auto experimentation? Check. Solid ball management? Shooting on the run? Check and check. Don't be fooled, however, as Andrew is not a player to be considered lightly. Andrew has already topped Nick's first outing of a 360-point run with his own 377 versus Codster in round 1, and definitely has the skill to put up those kinds of numbers again. One of our gatekeepers already underestimated Andrew's skill in the round of 8, and Nick will have to make sure that he doesn't do the same. This one's going to be a close one, folks. Who do you have taking it?
In the second semifinals match, we will see the final challenger remaining versus, again, Nick862, the god of single player, going to show why he is the god. Autonomous mode's underway. Power cells kind of going in pretty well from both of these two robots here. 50 to 54 early. We'll see what happens at the end of Autonomous. Looks like it is going to be Nick862 with a little bit extra precision with the advantage here by only 2 points. So Andrew definitely putting up the good fight here against someone incredibly talented. All those power cells going in from both of these opponents. 117 to 110. So Nick has extended his lead by a slight margin, but nothing too significant, and anything can change here. Andrew puts up a cycle of his own, all those going inner. Likewise with Nick in response, but the gap has closed now, 137 to 138, so it must have been a bigger cycle from Andrew. We'll see what happens this time around. Looks like Nick a little bit slower, 164, 167 now, so Andrew taking the advantage. This is a very good run coming out from him. He is fighting for this win. Andrew getting those shots in, but Nick missed some. The first two there went into that outer port. Critical mistake coming in from Nick, who is not known for his errors. 191 to 183, so it's still within reach for both of these opponents. Too close to call thus far, but with a minute left on the clock, we'll have to see. A jam from Andrew definitely going to hurt his chances, but he does still have the advantage for now, but has given Nick time to catch up. Again, the first shot missing for him. That's a problem he's had thus far, and Andrew is still within reach here. Only 6 points, 50 seconds left on the clock, and both will put up a cycle now. We'll see who gets more points. Looks like it's going to be Nick with the better cycle this time around. He scored 4 more power cells than Andrew, but Andrew is still within reach here. A good cycle could make the difference. Nick going straight to that rendezvous point. Andrew a little bit slow start to that cycle. Some stuff happening in that hopper. Nick cannot say the same. He is just flying those out. Nick862 showing what he can do. Andrew having the advantage for a slight bit, but he is definitely feeling the pressure now with 20 seconds left on the clock. Looks like he is down a cycle because 327 to 296. Definitely not what Andrew wanted to see, given that he had the advantage partway through the match. Looks like it is likely going to be a Nick win, but 9 seconds left could still change. Andrew going to climb a little bit early, doesn't want to make any mistakes. With the clock hitting 0, it is going to be so close until the climbs go up. 398. Nick getting that win. He moves on to face Brennan in the finals. Andrew, well done, but couldn't get it this time.
Andrew 2137 put up a stellar fight versus Nick, while even maintaining the lead for a significant portion of the match. Despite this, when the clock hit 0, he found himself not on the winning side of the matchup and will not continue his run into the finals. Nick862 had a bit of a sloppy run, missing some of the shots and getting beached on balls, but still manages to put up the tournament high score so far. He heads into the finals, where we will see our top 2 players battle it out for the title. Welcome to the finals. You know the 2 players, you know their stories. The current world record holder versus a former world record holder. The king of single player looks to take his crown. The most decorated player in XRC looks to put one more W in the win column. Let's find out who takes it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the finals. Here we're going to see Brennan4476 versus Nick862. These opponents are not foreign to one another. They go together all the time, and we see Nick862 a different auto path than Brennan. He has a bit of a slower start. Brennan already on the move, 54-48. Currently the score. Looks like we're going to see an advantage for Brennan early on here, 76-60. So Nick trying that new auto may not have worked out for him. Brennan getting 4 more power cells out in autonomous is huge, especially so early on. We'll see if he's able to run away with it or if Nick can claw it back. He was down in the semifinals, Nick, but it was able to take home the W. We'll see if he's able to do the same, but a missed shot there is not going to help his chances. Brennan a little slow to get that cycle started, but does do so. It is underway, and it is going up, 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 133-107. So Nick will need to put up a big cycle in response, but instead he jams a little bit of a choke there. We'll see if he's able to do the same, but Brennan is here with a cycle. He was down by 1 point for a brief moment there. The cycles are taking a little longer, but we're seeing these veterans knowing how their hopper works, really focusing on that precision. Consistency is everything in this tournament. 163-158 now, so Nick is bringing it closer. Brennan's going a little bit slower because he had a bit of a jam, but Nick862 within 6 points of his opponent here. A minute left on the clock. They're tied with power cell points. That autonomous saving Brennan right now. 56, make that 59-61 on that cycle. Nick responds with 1 extra power cell to bring it down to a 4-point gap. 50 seconds left on the clock. These are perfect cycles coming in. Nothing into the outer port yet. Brennan, the same. A perfectly lined up cycle. 237-237. Tell me, does it get closer than that? 30 seconds left in the match. We're going to see who's able to pull it out. Looks like Nick is a bit ahead time-wise. Brennan getting that new cycle up, but those going into the outer port. Crucial mistake for him. 30 seconds left in the match, and it's still tied, but Nick having another cycle to go. Brennan has to make his way back across the field to respond, but those going into the outer port. What a throw. 217 to 300 now, 288. It's a close match, but Brennan having the advantage has thrown it away. He has another jam with 6 seconds left. He is down. If Nick throws the climb, that's his only hope, but it looks like it is going to be the win to Nick862. The god of single player is here to stay, coming out in fighting fashion here. 361-329. Nick, the champion, wins the match.
Congratulations to Nick862 for winning the 12. Really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making the video on this one, and of course every time I look at it I see things that I probably would have liked to have done better, but it's all a learning experience, and I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. If you liked it, share with people. Maybe we can get some more people interested in the XRC sim, get some fresh blood, and maybe we'll do another one of these with some fresh faces looking to take down some of the more senior players, removing the crown potentially from Nick862. But yeah, thanks once again, and that's gonna end it.